Daretti, Scrap Savant versus Rafiq of the Many, Scary Commander. And we have Messiah in hand. Worst case scenario, that just makes a good blocker, but we'd preferably want to use it for some sacrifice fodder for Daretti. Daretti, Scrap Savant, it's -2, is sacrifice an artifact. If you do, return an artifact from graveyard to battlefield, and then its +2 is discard up to 2 cards, draw that many, and then the emblem is -10, and whenever an artifact we control dies, return it to the battlefield at the end step. And Mishra's Workshop is really good, and I feel no guilt for that whatsoever, because they got down a Sol Ring on turn 1. Unfortunately can't use this to activate the abilities of artifacts. We can only use it to cast artifact spells, so we're a few turns off Burnished Heart. But we can get down Messiah next turn. And then the turn after we can activate Burnished Heart if we want to. But because Rafiq is such a scary commander, I might actually use Wasteland sooner than I would typically. Rafiq of the Many has Exalted. It's a Bant commander for 4 mana, 3/3. And it has Exalted. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until the end of the turn. And they managed to get themselves a basic Forest with Nissa. That's a strange one to run in a Rafiq deck. But they might just be running it to get into the Planeswalker. And yeah, I actually quite like Tormenting Voice here. We'll ditch Anger with Daretti, but for now we'll go for Darksteel Forge, which gives everything indestructible, or all our artifacts indestructible. We get into Spine of Ishtar, and how close are we to that? 5, 6. Well, if we get into another land, we're pretty close to it. And we can get into another land with Burnished Heart. I wonder if we want to... I think we want to get down Daretti, because... curious. I think we have to Burnished Heart next turn, actually. And then maybe go for Darksteel Forge as soon as we can, or maybe even ditch Anger and Spine to Daretti, and then we can grab the Spine and get rid of something our opponent controls. They might be holding up counter magic now. Spine of Ishtar is... not Spine of Ishtar, Staff of Nin is tempting. But I think we just pass the turn here. And go for Burnished Heart at the end of our opponent's turn. And that might be Fact or Fiction then. Nope, it's Chemist's Insight. Draw a couple of cards. They can discard, I think it's discard a land. You cast it from your graveyard. Oh, you discard any card in order to jumpstart, and then they can cast that from their graveyard. Glad we haven't seen a very fast Rafiq, because that can be quite a pain to deal with. Angel of Condemnation, Flying and Vigilance, exile another target creature and return, right, so that's a flicker effect, and then you can 3-tap and exert it to exile another creature until Angel of Condemnation leaves the battlefield. So if they have flicker effects in the deck, they could tap it down and exert it. Oh no, but then it would leave the battlefield, wouldn't it? So yeah, scratch that. And I don't think they'll swing in with Nissa here. But they could force the issue on our Burnished Heart. I have to imagine they want to flip it. Luckily for us, they haven't gotten into too much ramp. So we just sack our Burnished Heart and grab a couple of mountains. We do have Valakut in the deck, so the closer we can get to Valakut, I think it's 5 mountains and up. Yeah, there it is, Valakut. at least 5 other mountains, yeah, so we're 1 mountain off making Valakut relevant. Duplicant is good. I think I'd quite like a duplicant because that Angel of Condemnation might be an issue for us. And plus, duplicant is quite nice sacrifice fodder for Daretti because once it's exiled something, we don't particularly need it to stick around. And yes, we do want to use it. That turns into a 3/3. And then do I need to Wasteland here? I'm going to hold off on Wasteland. It won't stop Rafiq from coming in anyway. So we'll just pass over to our opponent. And they have something else to do. Oh, they exile they exile Mere Sire. That is an interesting play. Mere Sire is a 2-mana 1/1, and when it dies you create a Mere token. So they're obviously worried about us getting some kind of value off of that, which we would have done with Daretti, but they seem to just be holding up instant speed. I wonder if they're worried about countering Daretti, which we might be able to use to our advantage. Might be able to encourage them to counter something else. Why don't we go for a Spine? We're not under much pressure from our opponent, so I don't mind slow rolling this out. Spine of Isari is going to go after that Sol Ring, and that knocks them back a couple of turns with regards to mana. And they decide to use the mana for one last time before Spine is blown up, and they draw a couple of cards, discard a forest, and then we blow up their Sol Ring. And they're back up to 6 cards in hand. They have 2, 4, 5. I think this is 7 lands to flip it. We do run Nissa Vastwood Seer on the channel if you're interested. There's a playlist for her. She's very good. Yeah, 7 or more lands to flip over Nissa. I might make use of Wasteland. Although I'm curious if they counter Daretti and force us to replay him, then we'll regret using the Wasteland because we're only a land off recasting him again currently. And I have never seen such a slow-paced control. Try again. I've never seen such a slow-paced and controlled Rafiq deck before. It's usually much more worrying than this. Alright, well, in that case, let's see if Staff of Ning gets their attention with a counter spell. It doesn't, so we'll be drawing a couple of cards every turn. I don't want to... If they get down Rafiq, they can have Nissa swing in for 6 damage. It will get +1/+1 off the Exalted. And then... Oh, we should have got down Arcbound Ravager, shouldn't we? No, anyway. Yeah, the Nissa will swing in. It will get +1/+1 from the Exalted. And then it will get double strike from Rafiq. And what is this? Spells cost 2 generic mana less to cast if there are 4 or more card types. Oh, this spell costs 2 less, draw 3 cards, okay. This is like some kind of Ifara deck. I've been looking at Ifara recently. I built her, or a rough version of her, a while ago. I'll end up uploading it onto the channel eventually. But I need to go over it with a fine-tooth comb. I do really like Ifara. And they managed to flip over Nissa, which means we don't have to worry about her swinging in anymore. But she might just throw out a 4/4 token now. If she does do that, she'll go down to 1 and we can ping her out with Staff of Nin. And Solemn Simulacrum will get them a basic. And they do just go for the card draw. They get down an irrigated farmland. And then Oath of Nissa comes down. And I think that reveals a land, does it? You may reveal a creature, land, or planeswalker. And you may cast mana as though it was any mana to cast planeswalker spells. I don't think this is a Super Friends Bant deck for Rafiq, but it might be. I don't see what Rafiq brings to the table in a Super Friends deck. They've got a full grip now. Path to Exile on our commander makes me wish that we got down Arcbound Ravager like we should have done. In that case, I'm just going to ping Nissa before I forget. And we can at least get that land that we need to recast Daretti. Assuming that he gets countered, that is. And how much mana are we? 5, 6. We're a couple of lands short of Ugin. But we are about to draw a couple of lands, or a couple of cards. Might go into Ancient Tomb here. And that would get us online for Ugin, but it does not, unfortunately. In that case, I think we try to get down Daretti. And see if they have a 1 mana counter spell. Spell Pierce won't do it for them. And then we can... yeah, we'll discard some cards. Anger and... yeah, we'll just discard that. I imagine we'll draw into another land. Yeah, Temple of the False God is what we could have done with drawing this turn, because that would have put us on to Ugin. But no matter. We'll hold up Wasteland in case they decide to play something that worries us. Next turn, I think we might exile the or sacrifice the Spine of Ishtar for Darksteel Forge. And Nissa is going to go down here. I'm going to swing everything in at Nissa. Actually, what I was thinking of was just in case they have a, what is it called? Nature's Claim. The 1 mana kill an artifact. But that would actually get doubled across all of our golems, so I don't actually think it's worth bothering with that. We'll just split the damage. Okay, they're trying to save themselves some damage, which makes perfect sense. Nissa's going down either way, so they might as well let both of those through. And if they draw into lots of cards, if they are about to pass the turn with more than 7 cards in hand, I will kill the Reliquary Tower, because I don't want them to have that much value. Okay, traverse the Ulvenwald. I don't know if that gets them a creature. Do they have Delirium? If there are 4 or more card types amongst cards in your graveyard, instead search your library for a creature and put it into your hand. Is it 4 or more card types? Well, there's creature, instant, land, and artifact, so they do get to search for a creature. Let's see what they grab. Noteworthy that they have Worldbreaker. That exiles an artifact, enchantment, or land. So I think the sooner we get down this Arcbound Ravager, the better. Oh, they go for Tristani Discordant. Also play that on the channel. Really like Tristani Discordant. Looks like they're getting her down right now. So this might be a token-based deck then. Yeah, really want to keep an eye out for that Worldbreaker. So we will get down the Arcbound Ravager next turn. And then if we get down the Darksteel Forge, the only thing we do have to worry about is exile effects. And I'm actually curious, have I done something wrong? I swung in everything at this Nissa. Did they return it somehow? I have missed something there. Okay. I'm sure I'll watch the video back and realise what a fool I've been. As of right now, we seem to still have Nissa to worry about. What's in exile? I genuinely have no idea what's happened there. We'll go after Nissa with the Staff of Nin, just try and keep her down a bit. And we're not going to be taking control of our opponent's creatures. Wasteland. No, I don't care about Wasteland. Draw a couple of cards here, and I don't see a good reason to not get into Ugin here. So we'll just grab our Darksteel Forge. We'll sacrifice the Spine of Ishsar, which will put it back into our hand. And then if we go Temple of the False God, which does enter tapped. Forgot about Thalia. That does change things then. Well, we do want to get down Arcbound Ravager before I forget. Yeah, that changes things then. Good that we managed to get down some indestructibles. Okay, why don't we just go for our Combustible Gear Hulk. And see if our opponent wants to take the damage. They either mill us and take damage, or they give us card draw, either of which we are perfectly happy with, because we don't mind having things in the graveyard. They take 5 from Memory Jar, 2 from Grim Monolith, and there's our Ancient Tomb, so they took 5, 6, 7. Memory Jar might be good to get into later. As of right now, our opponent is facing down some indestructible golems. They don't have Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile, so their destruction effects aren't going to be of any use to them. Yeah, Thalia, Heretic Cathar doing some good work for them there. Creatures and non-basic lands that we control are now going to enter tapped, as long as Thalia's in play. Ugin can get rid of everything. -X, exile each, frog in my throat, exile each permanent with CMC of X or less, that's 1 or more colours, so we will keep all our artefacts, apart from Combustible Gear Hulk, that will get exiled. Oh, actually no it won't, I'll just sacrifice it to the Arcbound Ravager, so the only thing we'll lose is Daretti, but our opponent will lose all of their things, and really happy to see Progenitor Mimic when we're about to Ugin. Yeah, we'll just mill. No, we don't want you to draw 3 cards. We'll just take 11 damage. Yeah, we got into how do you even say that? Circuitous Root? Circuitous Root I'm going with. Mind Stone and Angel of Invention. And they go for Nature's Law. Really hoping they don't have a counter spell for this Ugin, because the only way we can get it back out of our library, or back out of the graveyard, is with Codex Shredder. It costs quite a bit of mana to grab it with that. Oh, and Captain Sisay would be really good to get rid of as well. And they're tapped out, so this is fine with me. I'm going to ping our opponent, because the more damage we get on them the better. I think we can just go for the win next turn if we manage to land this Ugin. We'll sacrifice the Combustible Gear Hulk before we forget. And then we do, of course, draw some cards here. Now then, just in case things go south, I think I'd like to make use of Daretti. So why don't we get down the servo schematic. And we get a token from that, which we are about to sacrifice with Daretti. And I think we'll just grab the Combustible Gear Hulk again. Yeah, we'll have to sacrifice it. We can't swing in with it this turn anyway, because it's going to enter tapped. So we'll just sacrifice our indestructible servo token. See, our opponent surely will give us 3 cards here. We might just kill them with Combustible Gear Hulk otherwise. Yeah, it's a good job they did. They would have been dealt 9 damage there. We'll go for Buried Ruin. And then we want to get down Ugin. Ugin comes down. Have to make sure to sacrifice the Combustible Gear Hulk with the Arcbound Ravager, and they see the writing on the wall there. We would have gotten Arcbound Ravager up to a 3-3. Sacrifice the Combustible Gear Hulk. We would have lost Daretti. And then swung in for 3, 6, 9, and 12 damage. Our opponent would have had just lands on the board. They wouldn't have been able to defend against us there. So, yeah, pretty good going for Daretti there. Exactly what Daretti wants to do. Cheating out artifacts and just getting lots of value, basically. Drawing cards, discarding cards, reanimating artifacts. Prime example of a Daretti game. Not, however, a prime example of a Rafiq game. That is the most unusual Rafiq game I have ever played. But nonetheless, we got to see Daretti do what he does best. So hope you enjoyed that, and stay tuned for more Daretti, because I will be playing him some more on the channel. Had a lot of requests for him. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.